is out the door.
Then B is going to happen.
So let's go to the next fight that I was actually excited about because it's the welterweight division. We love the glamour division in the welterweights, and this is Jaron Ennis coming out party, man. Plain and simple. I'm actually gonna post this in the edited video so you can probably see. I actually wanted back in December when we first started doing our podcast, I had him as my prospect of the year. Didn't get a chance to watch a lot of him up to that point, because he's under Al Heyman's stable to a degree, and he hasn't had the step of fights you see in normal TV for an up and coming guy has. But he showcased and showed out Saturday night. He was a Lipinets. I can never really pronounce his name.
Sergey Lipinets. He is a guy who former 140-pound title holder. And also is a guy whose only loss was to Mikey Garcia. So if you think about a guy who's battle tested, he's someone that guys don't want to fight. Like he's not a champion. He's that guy right in the cusp that on a bad night he could beat a champion. And Jaron just said, "No, you ain't even in my league, son." Stopped him in the 6th round. Every round was a showcase for Jaron. I mean, the first round was the fill-out round, went to the body. Second round, started headhunting a little bit, giving a little taste of different combinations. Third round, started adding more pepper to his punches, started putting, really stepping into his shots. Fourth round came, was like, all right, time to put this guy away. He started throwing combinations in bunches. He started putting his foot on the pedal. 5th round came, went to straight southpaw. 6th round, cancel Christmas, man. So I just had to do a quick rundown of the fight. But what do you think about Jaron Ennis, man? He is a bigger Crawford. He's basically where Crawford probably ends up in his career, maybe finishing off at junior middleweight, junior middleweight, my fault. And then I think Ennis probably ends up finishing his career somewhere in middleweight and stuff because he came in looking pretty big, looking pretty huge.
Man, didn't he look huge?
He looked like he belonged to 154 already.
Wow.
So
maybe 160. I mean, I know he hydrated. He looked like close to 160. That was, he was big.
Yeah, he was like Paul Williams type activity with definitely a Crawford type style of fighting and stuff. And I say Crawford type because he basically switched stance on him multiple times. And I was really more impressed. His footwork was great. I mean, he looks like he's fighting from long range. All his punches are coming from long range, but you see where a lot of his footing was at. And they ended up being really more medium range punches and stuff. And you see a lot of what you call what I would see like uppercut, like hook uppercut types. Mm-hmm. He's basically trying to hit an angle. He's not trying to hit a straight hook going across horizontally. He's not trying to go with an uppercut going, vertically down up. He's basically saying, I'm going to come at you at this angle. And it's basically a hook uppercut. And he was able to do it on both hands, switching stances on top of it all. And they look long, but they're not that long. They're actually just within his range where his power's at. Great, short, crisp punches. His medium range punches were dead on perfect. So that 3rd round was excellent. That 4th round was a masterpiece of a combination of power punches while switching. I mean, it was excellent. So I definitely I'm high on him. I just don't know what's going to happen with the welterweight division because right now it's a little stagnant right now. Outside of Pacquiao and Crawford having a fight coming up hopefully in June, it's a little stale right now.
I would describe that his body type is like just a hair smaller than the Charlo twins.
Yeah, that's also pretty comparable.
He is that big. The difference is that the Charlos are 6'1". He's like 5'10", 5'11". He's only like 2 inches shorter than them, but he has a longer reach than them. He has a 74-inch reach. Yeah. Now, let me just explain to people here how long that is. Floyd Mayweather has unquestionably long reach for 72 for a guy his size at 5'8". That's why one of the reasons why Floyd is so dominant. Because of the fact that his speed, but having that long reach, when he threw his lead right or his jab, you weren't getting that airspace. So when he popped you were scared to get caught because of that speed. So with Jaron Ennis, you're throwing another 2 inches on that. He's bigger. He just has this bigger bust size. His chest was freaking massive. By the 3rd round, Lipinets' face looked like he'd been in a 9-round fight. Yeah. And the 1st round dedicated to the freaking body, man. I was literally looking. I had to rewind back the tape. I was like, wait a minute here. Wait, how many times did he get hit in the face? Why? He was puffy. He was red. And you can tell that the starch was out of him by the end of that 3rd round. You can tell him he was walking back to the corner. I was like, he's done. He's just fighting on pride right now,
So let's talk about this a little bit here.
trajectory and stuff for the rest of his, for the rest of the year, right? So we're seeing him maybe fight once or twice more before the year is over. I mean, what do you see coming up for this year? Who he could be possibly fight? Who we would want to see him fight? I know there's one name we talked about wanting to see him fight because it'd be kind of interesting. But then moving on from there, what do you think it looks like?
See, here's the thing that bothers me about the fight that he gave. See, he didn't do this fight against a nobody or like another up and coming prospect. He did this against a former title holder who all the guys he fought, it was battles. Mikey Garcia, that's the only time that he was actually down his career against Mikey Garcia. Garcia put him down for the first time. But he's fought guys, and there's been wars back and forth where that, man, if you didn't bring your A game, he was hurting you. So he's scared guys this weekend. Like, first you see this kid, and he's like 74-inch reach. This guy's going to be a junior middleweight, the big young kid. Whatever. And then you see him destroy a former title holder like that, and it's like, wait a minute. So off the rip, everybody knows I'm a big Errol Spence fan, and he is not fighting Errol Spence, even though they're fighting basically under the same banner. I hate to say this. I'm not even dogging my boy Errol. I just do not see him taking that kind of gamble right now. He's going after you guys the next few months here to get his third title. After that, then, I mean, who would he want to, who would he fight? I don't see him fighting against a young guy who got no credentials. I actually would see him fighting Thurman before he would fight him. It's just too dangerous to fight for Spence right now. So that sucks for me right now to see that. So who's next? Who has the other belt? Bud Crawford. That's not happening right now because that's Top Rank. And of course, it's PBC. He's on Showtime right now. And so we don't see that happen. If anything, Bud would fight Virgil Ortiz first before he fight a young guy like that. Because we just saw Ortiz just recently.
And Crawford and Spence were both there while his fight against Hooker.
So we saw that showcase right now, right? And plus, Virgil Ortiz has been getting a more push under Oscar than Jaron Ennis been getting that push with Al Heyman and PBC. He's still young, and they've been moved, even though he's 27-0. You even heard the fanfare about him right now, right? So I threw away all the title holders right now, right? So who could he fight next? Thurman thirsty as hell. He's been calling Spence out and everybody for a fight, and he can't get one because everybody's pissed off at Thurman for the way he treated everybody when he was title. He fought once or twice a year. Let me just say this right here for people to understand that I am not dogging out Thurman for not being a good fighter. He's a damn good fighter. He's not great. I reserve great for certain people. Manny's great. Floyd's great. Andre Ward's great. Guys like that, right? He's good, but you can't act like you're Floyd or Manny Pacquiao and then dictate these terms, and then you don't fight these guys. You have all these injuries. You come back, and now you wonder why no one wants to fucking fight you. You know what I'm saying? You burned your bridges. No one want to rock with you right now. You got to rebuild yourself. So would Thurman fight him? If he's thirsty, but I don't think he's that thirsty. Who's next? Man, let's go down the list here. I had a list here. Okay, here we go. Manny Pacquiao? No. You ain't finding Manny. We already know what Manny's going. Let's just throw Manny out the door. He ain't happening here.
What about Porter there?
Sean Porter is the only name that I see.
That'd be entertaining. It'd be entertaining.
And not even next. Not even next. I could see Porter next year. Because Porter is still angling for the top fights right now. He's not looking to fight a guy who just barely, not saying barely, he just broke the top 10.
Sean would rather do broadcasting at this point and wait for that opportunity at this point instead of taking a risk right now. This is a risky fight. Yeah. This is a risky fighter for any of the top guys.
Let me just put it out there. Sean Porter, a thug. He'll fight anybody. I'm going to put it out
Porter
there.
Will do it. Porter will do it. But I think you're right, though. I think he'll wait to see what the outcomes look like to see if there's any opportunity for a big fight. And if he can't land any of those big fights, then possibly, right? I could probably see it maybe like at the end of the year.
Let's keep it 100 here. I could see here's where Porter's gonna react right now. I could see Porter fighting Thurman again because that could be a big money fight for him. He tried for Manny, and of course, Manny's going a different direction. I could see him waiting out and getting his rematch with Spence. Spence could beat you. Remember, there was literally talk about being run back between Spence and Sean Porter. It didn't happen because, Manny got stripped of his title. And then when that happened, then Spence went the direction of trying to go for another unification here. Yeah. So I could literally see Porter waiting out and getting Spence by the end of the year to do another rematch on that because he's ranked in the WBC side. He could push for Bud Crawford, but we see what Bud's doing right now. So Porter's angling for a title fight, and then I could see him doing the balls of I haven't paid him enough money to go ahead and get in the ring with him, to put this young stud back if he could put him back. But when I look at this top 10, like I'm actually looking at I'm looking at Bad Love Hooks rankings right now. I'm not going by ESPN rankings. Like Mikey Garcia ain't touching him, man. Mikey Garcia would get stopped. As much as the Mikey Garcia is a good fighter, welterweight is too big for him, and this guy's bigger than Spence.
Exactly.
That's not happening. And so like Virgil Ortiz, I was mentioning earlier, like Virgil Ortiz would be like back in the day, you would see fights like this where the young prospects or they're not a prospect, they're right on the cusp of being that championship caliber fighter, and you would see those two young guys fight. You in the 80s and early 90s, you would see fights like this all the time. Yep. You don't see it now because that loss is detrimental. You lose this fight, you're going way back down. It's about 2 or 3 years before you can build yourself back up. So, and on top of that too, that's Oscar's fighter, and it's Al Heyman. No, Oscar ain't gonna work with Al Heyman like that.
Yep. So here's
Danny Garcia, but he's going to 154. But Garcia will get put in retirement. I think the way he looked against Spence, Ennis is young and don't care. There's ignorance in him where he will see Garcia and say, "I am not Spence," and I will just hurt him.